So, responsibility of a business towards various interest groups. Interest groups consist of the various persons connected with the business, such as consumers, shareholders, and the community. The responsibility of a business towards various interest group are as follows. So, like a responsibility toward consumer, a consumer is a person who determines what good shall be produced and whether they should be sold in the market or not. So, consumers, not only determine the income of the business but also affect the success and survival of the business. Therefore, a business has some basic responsibilities towards the consumer, and these are, I'm going to tell you, to produce those goods that meet the needs of consumer of a different taste, classes and purchase power, to establish the lowest possible price with efficiency and reasonable profit to the business, to ensure fair distribution of product among all selection, all section of the consumer, self-instructional material. So, like if I elaborate the ethics to make the products more satisfactory to consumer, the study of consumer needs, to handle the complaints of consumer more carefully and the analysis them properly, to answer consumer inquiries related to the company, its product and services. So, responsibility towards shareholders, if I'm talking about, the basic responsibility of a business is to ensure the safety of our investment and higher rate of return on the investment. So, owner of a business may be proprietor, partners or shareholders. The interest of shareholders lies in participating in the management and getting regular, dividend at appropriate rates. It is therefore the responsibility of the management to improve communication between the company and its shareholders. This can be done by providing, maximum information to the shareholder through newsletters, annual reports, or by holding the annual, general meeting of the company at an appropriate time and place so that the maximum number of members can come and participate in the discussion. So, responsibilities, if I'm talking about, the management has the responsibility of informing the community about the organizational policies, activities and contribution toward the betterment of society. The various other responsibilities toward the communities are like financial help to the municipal and district board for the improvement of house condition, to help the community by adding a hospital, school, college or religious institution and so on, to organize community forum and a group discussion to promote better understanding of national and local affairs, to encourage sport and provide recreational facilities. So, business ethics has different meaning for different people, but generally it is to decide what is right or wrong in the business. According to Wallace and Pickle, if I'm talking about, so attention to business ethics is necessary during time of fundamental change, as the moral value that were not taken seriously are strongly questioned at that time. So, business ethics enables the leaders and employees to act, at the time of crisis and confusion in the business. Therefore, business ethics helps to deal with business ethical issues that are, vague. So, ethical is the branch of philosophy that is issued to evaluate human action. Some basic ethical concept in business, like this concept, subjectivism. So, this concept emphasizes that the ethical choices of the individual decide the rightness or wrongness of his behavior. So, according to the concept, no principle is universally applicable, and so it would be inaccurate to measure the behavior of one society with another principle or standards. So, relativism overlooks the self-instructional material. If I'm talking about the fact that there may be enough evidence to believe that an ethical practice is based on false belief, illogical reasoning, and so on. So, consequentialism is based on two ideas, like the value at the maximum of value. Like example, honesty is considered of a value, and act is considered ethical only if it maximizes this value. An act which doesn't maximize the said value is not ethically. So, deontological, if I'm talking about this concept, stresses that ethical value can be developed from the concept of reason, as all a rational individual possesses the ability of reason. We may, for example, like end up causing pain unknowingly while trying to create happiness. Therefore, the ethical value of an action cannot be determined by its consequences. Instead, it is in the motive that lies behind the particular action. So this concept emphasizes those traits that give the individual a sense of satisfaction from ethical point of view. So virtuous act like courage, honesty, tolerance, and generosity are done as a way of a living and not by chance. So whistleblowing refers to the attempt of an employee to disclose that he or she believes to be illegal behavior in or by the organization. So, however, when loyalty to one's organization in particular is perceived to be harming one's general loyalty to mankind, the act of whistleblowing is justified. So, failure on the part of the management of the organization to fulfill, its social obligation calls for whistleblowing. It is the responsibility of the whistleblowing to be careful about revealing the organization's secret and to consider the harm it may cause to his colleagues and shareholders. The steps that should be taken into consideration by the whistleblower are ascertain the gravity of the situation before whistleblowing. So scrutinize the process, So authenticate and keep a record of the concerned information. Determine the type of offense and to whom it should be reported. Assert your claim in a proper way. Stick to the fact. Determine if the whistleblowing need be external or external. So decide if the whistleblowing should be anyone or otherwise. Make sure to follow proper rules in reporting the offense. Anticipate and document Wages, ethical dilemma in business, if I'm talking about. So this result in a dilemma for managers. Since people handle business, it is a crucial requirement to check and ascertain ethical behavior at a personal level. This will confirm ethically a correct response from the organization to the mutual action of individuals. 12 self-instruction, if I'm talking about ethical model can be used to define ethical situation and manage ethical dilemma that may occur on the organization. In the organization, the golden rule, if I'm talking about, so right driven or Kantian models are two operational models that have emerged from the work of philosopher, Emmanuel. So golden rule model. So this model originated from the New Testament. Specifies people should treat others in the same manner that they themselves would like to be treated. If it is a fundamental principle found in every culture and religion, and it is the most important basis for the modern concept of human rights. It is also called the ethical of reciprocity. It stimulates an individual to put oneself in the other person's shoes and then evaluate how one would wish to be treated in that particular situation. This proves that this rule is absurd with identifying the receiver and the situation. The ethics of reciprocity should not be confused with the revenge or penalizing justice. So may result in causing harm to others, and perfectionists may charge others with critical analysis, so which may lead to harassment. Different people have different ideologies, belief, and maybe belong to different culture, heritage. So this difference is the reason behind the difference people, behavior towards various situations. If I'm talking about the Kantian model, so this model is based on the hypothesis that everybody has some fundamental right in this ethical universe. So any action is ethically correct if it reduces the stakeholder collective violation of rights. This model willingly provides assistance in the internal audit review and helps the managerial decision making. So Kant didn't believe that any outcome was good from its origin. According to him, good is not always intrinsic. He did not believe in good character traits like ingenuity, intelligence, and courage. In fact, he used the term good to describe goodwill, by which he meant the resolve to perform the act purely in accordance with one's duty. If the action are, predetermined, then they cannot be described as free and moral. He believed that the act morally freedom is required. So according to Kant, there are two concepts of duty. According to one concept, a duty is just following order imposed by others. The other concept is duty is internal and can be imposed on oneself. He considered that inclinations constitute a motivation, whereas other believed that it was the physical word that acted as motivation. But Kant believed that the sources of the physical word might be unreliable, passive, and phenomenal. Sometimes man's mind is overclouded by sorrow due to his lack of sympathy from others, but he still has the power to help those in distress. So he no longer needs any support, as he is sufficient occupied with his own inclinations, making him indifferent to the suffering of others. He become adapted to his suffering with the help of the patience and endurance he has developed in due course of time. This begin to show his worth of character and temperament, So like most of us live by a rule most of time. Some of them are called categorically. So imperatives that are unconditional command which bind everyone at all times. There are two types of imperatives. Hypothetically, imperatives, which is to say that if one wants to achieve success, then he should work in a free way and not bind himself to his inclination. So, and categorize imperative, for example, the imperative to always tell the truth as it is unconditional and can be applied at all times. So Kant also introduced maxims, which are subjective rules that guide action and help an individual to act according to the relevant description. So there is sufficient generally in description. So all action have maxims like never lie to your colleagues and never act in a manner that would make your family or organization ashamed of you. So always work hard to be the best performer. It's acceptable to cheat if the pattern demands. That's the most important. Thanks for watching.